When they were young, they used to do that really well. Oh dear me. What's going to be real fun is coming back in 20 years' time and watching it all. That's what I'm looking forward to. Amazing, thank you very, very much. Actually, it's one of those things that timbrels always have that impact, don't they? And that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Right, we are going to give opportunity. Just if anybody wants to talk about, say something that stood out for them in those music school years. Now, just while you're thinking about it, I'm just going to tell you one little story. Because when Alison and I first started, we were in our early 30s. And there were, in those days, there were certainly getting on towards 100, I think, in attendance at the music school. I thought it was nearer 1,000 actually. At the time, it was only 100, and we were down at Ross in North Wales, by the seaside, and trying to keep 100 teenagers in their, I was going to say in their own beds, but I mean in their own houses. So it just doesn't come over right actually, and therein lies the tale. But anyway, one of the things that, and I got more and more tired as the week went on, slightly more depressed as the week went on. I spent most of the night sitting out in the car park with Gordon Cursock in his car, trying to trap people who had escaped from their houses. And we both thought that they didn't know we were there. And we never saw a soul all night. They'd worked that one out well and truly, but the thing that I can always remember, one of my first memories was that we were staying in a Catholic place, and we'd taken this place over, and there were lots of Catholic icons and statues in the houses in which we were living. And there was one particular statue of the Madonna, and she was about this height in this statue, and it was covered in a glass sort of cover. And I came down one morning and walked past this thing, and it was completely white. Somebody had gone in during the night and filled the thing with shaving foam, placed it on the statue, and they were not happy about that, because they did actually find out. That was our last year there, actually. We never ever did get an opportunity to go back. And I didn't think Nick Crowhurst was old enough to shave at that time, but apparently he was. Okay, does anybody want to come and have the opportunity? I think we've got a microphone, haven't we? I think it's working. So does anybody want to come? Something... Let's see. So who wants to share? Does anybody want to share a nice story? Stuart, all of it. And then pass it on to someone else.
Time for 3. Not when I've finished, you won't. I'm quite lucky because I still play in a youth band. I help with the youth band in the West Midlands, and it's really interesting that the naughty boys don't know how to be naughty. I can teach them a lot of things which I haven't taught them. But for me, as I grew up when I was a young man, it was, he said, in 20 years' time, and I thought, crikey, I'll be 65 in 20 years' time, and that makes me think it was 20 odd years ago since we finished music schools in Manchester, and don't time fly. But I became a strong Christian because of music schools. It was where I grew with friends, and friends who felt like family, and it was a time where I grew as a Christian, and I got closer to God, and it's always been with me now, all through my life. And it was really nice to come here today and just meet people who, some people are still worshipping, some people are still going to churches, and to be truthful, there are some people who aren't worshipping anymore, and for me, I felt that today was about, hopefully, people who weren't worshipping, maybe who have drifted away a little bit from God. Maybe today's about them thinking about that again, thinking about how important God is in our lives. And I've been through a few difficult times in the last few months, and I know that God's been close to me and kept me strong. So for me today was about people maybe who have drifted a little bit. Maybe they've come today and they've just loved being with some silly people who they used to know a long time ago. And it's just reminded them of how those times were special, because we were really strong friends, but were special because God was in everything that we did. I'd also like to say thank you to Gordon and Alan and everybody that looked after us when we were youngsters. It really was a special time for us, and you don't know how much of an influence you had in our lives, but thank you very much.
It's always a bit strange, isn't it, when you stand up and you look round and you see so many familiar faces. Stu's already stolen my thunder. You just said what I was going to say. I know, I was thinking about that. He was always a bright one. I've got two recollections to bring you. The first is I got stung by a bee at the music school when I was drinking a can of Coke after playing football, and because of that I wasn't allowed to play all week, and I had a big swollen lip, looked like the Elephant Man. It was a really strange week, but I remember one band practice where I was just kind of being blessed by all this beautiful music, and I just nodded off, I think. And I fell asleep just sitting on the floor by the side. And the next thing, Stu's brother Colin got his horn and snuck up on me and stuck the head of his horn right into my face and blew his horn as loud as he could. And he woke me up from my sleep, and I don't like that very much. I remember chasing him around the band room and out the band room and round the playground until I could get hold of him. Yeah, I never did catch up with him. But that was one of my kind of great memories, and just recognising, you know, the importance of fellowship and the care of the people who are around me, not. What I do want to say is, you know, kind of Gordon, Christine, Yvonne, you know, so many others, you know, kind of Alan and Alison. I've spoken to some of you individually today, but these guys have formed us in our Christian walk. They have planted seeds in our lives. They have supported us, walked with us, and for me, 3 words came to mind as I came today. One was to say thank you to these people, because they have blessed us beyond measure. The second word that came to mind was to forgive. And I don't know, there's a whole range of people here, and there's probably a whole range of people who aren't here. But I just want to, you know, kind of ask for forgiveness if I ever did anything in music school that was, you know, kind of mean-spirited or bitter. No, not the gymnastics, they were fun. And just to say sorry if I did anything that hurt anybody, then please accept that. And the final thing is just say this is about connecting, it's about fellowship, and you'll be so glad to know, after this weekend, I'm going to join Facebook.
I don't know anything about that shaving foam incident, but there was another statue upstairs that we put a band cap and tie on. I know something about that
one. It makes me feel extremely old in the fact that my first music school was 1979. 35 years ago, so that'll tell you how old I am. But from that day to this day, there are people who I've been to music school with, staff and delegates, who still support me in what I do. I wouldn't still be in the army except for people from music school and my course supporting me. I've been songster leader for 16 years, and I'm the only one out of my family who still go to the army. And if it wasn't for the support of people like you, thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. That was lovely. I was just a bit put out when Graham was speaking, and apologised to everyone. My wife tapped me on the shoulder and says, "You should do that as well." I never upset anybody. So sorry for much neither, but I couldn't believe that really. But there we are. Anyway, you're going to listen to the band again?